Hello and welcome to WION's Climate Tracker, your one-stop destination for all the news related to environment and climate crisis. I'm Rohit Wellington Rajan. Let's begin with what we have lined up for you on the show today. Our top story, one of Russia's most active volcanoes erupted on Tuesday, shooting a vast cloud of ash far up into the sky and smothering villages in drifts of grey volcanic dust. It triggered an aviation warning around Russia's far eastern Kamchatka peninsula. Take a look at this report.
Large clouds of dark ash rose into the skies of Russia's far eastern Kamchatka peninsula after one of the country's most active volcanoes erupted on Tuesday. "It's 9 in the morning," said one woman under a darkened sky. "The ash is falling." The Shiveluch volcano erupted just after midnight and reached its peak about 6 hours later. The ash cloud from the volcano covered almost 42,000 square miles, according to the Kamchatka branch of Russia's Geophysical Survey. It created the deepest ash the area has seen in 60 years. Tuesday's event could have a larger impact on the climate than the massive eruption at a volcano in Iceland in 2010, said WWF climatologist Alexei Kokorin.
This effect will cause some small cooling, maybe 0.1 Celsius degrees, maybe even less, maybe a bit more, nobody knows yet. In short period, maybe 1 year, maybe smaller, maybe a bit larger. Anyway, it's small effect, but effect in cooling.
Around 24 hours after the initial eruption, a 5.8 magnitude earthquake struck off the Kamchatka coast, the Geological Survey said. Russian scientists said the quake was an aftershock from another earthquake that happened on April 3rd. About 300,000 people live on the vast peninsula, which extends into the Pacific Ocean northeast of Japan. There were no immediate reports of casualties, but experts warn that further major ash clouds could appear. The Kamchatka Volcanic Eruption Response Team also issued a red notice for aviation and cautioned that ongoing volcanic activity could affect international and low-flying aircrafts. Shiveluch's last major eruption happened in 2007. It's had an estimated 60 substantial eruptions in the past 10,000 years.
After Russia, our next report comes from Colombia. Days after officials ordered evacuation and issued an orange alert in Tolima, the Nevado del Ruiz volcano has started spewing smoke, and another eruption may be round the corner. The Colombian Geological Service has tagged the volcano as unstable. A sharp increase in seismic activity is reported in the area, along with expulsion of a massive gas column. Most residents have been evacuated, though there are some farmers in the area who refuse to move out. Besides farmers, there are thousands of other villagers who are staying put to tend to their crops and pack animals, despite an urgent call from the government to evacuate.
Pues porque uno tiene, como pueden observar, el ganadito. Pues mi familia, mi esposa y mis hijos pues ya fueron evacuados. A mí sí me toca siempre pues cumplir aquí con el ganadito, los pocos animales que tengo, y ustedes saben que lo que tenemos los campesinos de por aquí es lo que tenemos en las fincas.
The eruption threat has loomed since the end of March, when the number of tremors within the volcano shot up from 50 to 12,000 every day. The government raised alert levels from yellow to orange and ordered the evacuation of 7,500 people living in the foothills of the flanks of the volcano.
El nivel de sismos aumentó, que pues antes pues uno lo veía normal, ahora último el día 9, ayer antier, cayó arena, no ceniza, y pues siempre uno veía ceniza, la ceniza sí pues uno normal, pero caer arena ya es...
All seismicity was initially characterized by rock fracturing. The Colombian Geological Service explained that this meant magma was trying to move from the volcano's southwest towards the crater. Movements of other fluids within the volcano have caused it to spew gas and triggered further seismic activity.
El nivel sigue lo mismo. Hay una probabilidad de una erupción en términos de días o semanas. No necesariamente tiene que ocurrir. Ese magma se puede empezar a enfriar y quedarse ahí tranquilo sin problemas. O puede desestabilizarse más y generar una erupción. De manera que eso no lo sabe nadie. Solamente con el monitoreo continuo y permanente y estando dando información de manera, digamos, permanente y confiable, es que podemos hacerle seguimiento a ese volcán.
Authorities fear that a major eruption could cause the kind of devastation that rocked the area in 1985. In a matter of hours, an eruption of lava had melted part of the volcano's snow cap, creating raging torrents of mud, ash and rocks that streamed down the mountainside and buried the town of Armero. At least 25,000 people had been killed, making it the worst natural disaster in the country's modern history. Shifting focus to a heat wave in Arizona in the United States. Higher temperatures are on the horizon as April temperatures warm in the valley, following the coldest March on record for Arizona in 30 years. Monday was the warmest spring day on record in the valley as temperatures touched almost 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is around 37 degrees Celsius, setting a record high for this year so far. Phoenix saw its first 99-degree day of 2023 in a warming trend that is expected to continue through much of the week. Saturday was the first 85-degree day of the year in the valley. 3 days later, the mercury climbed past the 100-degree mark. That's the shortest time for such a jump since 1941, according to the National Weather Service in Phoenix. Arizona's state climatologist and faculty at the Arizona State University says that the state is currently in a shoulder season before transitioning officially into the summer. Explanations have been given on warming due to human-caused climate change that has caused extreme droughts, storms and wildfires around the globe.
Well, what's going on in Arizona is we're underneath what's called a ridge of high pressure. And that tends to make temperatures really hot in Arizona and the Phoenix metropolitan area. What makes it a little bit more challenging is that Phoenix and Arizona has been really cold for the last few months, which has been great for our snowpack. But then when we go from really cooler temperatures to really warmer temperatures, all of a sudden, it's a challenge for heat-related illnesses.
With the warming desert temperatures comes an increased risk of heat-related safety concerns. The Weather Service in Phoenix warned of a moderate heat risk through Wednesday in response to rising temperatures. According to the Weather Service, those sensitive to heat should take extra precautions by reducing time spent outdoors. Vulnerable groups include adults older than 65, infants, athletes, outdoor workers, households without proper cooling, and those with chronic diseases. The Weather Service has recommended that valley residents drink plenty of water and electrolytes, wear lightweight and light-colored clothing, and keep windows open at night. Now, dozens of dead stingrays appeared on a beach in Rio de Janeiro this week. The death further sparked confusion and concern in the local community. Local fishermen reported the first sightings early on Tuesday. More details in our next report.
Why did only the rays die? If there was a lack of oxygen or some pollutant in the water, there were supposed to be other fish of other species killed, but no, they were only rays. To me, as we didn't see other fish killed along with the rays. This makes the hypothesis of trawling more evident in the cases of these stingrays.
The remaining Pyrenees glaciers will be gone in 10 years' time due to climate change. That's the stark warning from Spanish scientists who say the shrinking of ice mass on the mountain range looks set to continue at its steady but rapid pace. Here's a report.
The Pyrenees mountain range, which marks the natural border between Spain and France, has seen at least 28 glaciers disappear or become reduced to stagnant strips of ice since 1984. Scientists from the Pyrenean Institute of Ecology say its 17 remaining ice sheets saw an average 2-meter loss of ice thickness during last year's record-breaking warm summer. Blaming it on climate change for the retreat, the region witnessed an increase in 1.5 degrees Celsius since the 19th century. A glacier researcher at the Pyrenean Institute of Ecology says it's a dramatic situation for the glaciers on the Franco-Spanish mountain range.
Un recuento que se hizo en 1984.
They are reaching their limit. The temperature rises we have been experiencing in the last century, and especially in the last 2 or 3 decades, are subjecting them to an environment in which they cannot survive. They are not generating new ice, and the existing ice is slowly melting.
To analyze the yearly ice loss, scientists used high-resolution satellite imagery and visuals obtained on research flights in 2011 to map the ice mass evolution. They compared it with data obtained on field visits and 3D models of the mountain ridges produced last summer with the help of drones. Summer 2022 saw record-breaking heat in many parts of the Iberian Peninsula, which scientists say resulted in losses of up to 5 meters of ice thickness in parts of some of the fastest melting glaciers. In smaller glaciers, ice in many cases has already retreated to the shade of ridges carved by centuries of erosion.
In 1984, a study concluded that there were 44 glaciers in the Pyrenees. Right now, there are 17 left. This year, we took 4 off the list and pencil-marked 5. We will have to go next year to verify whether we can still call them glaciers by then.
What this effectively means is that with 2 or 3 summers like the one that was witnessed in 2022, there will be no more glaciers left in Pyrenees.
Despite an El Nino threat, the Indian Meteorological Department has predicted that the country will have a normal monsoon this year. The IMD said that the country will receive close to 96% of its average seasonal rainfall between June and September. However, the Met Office cautioned that the second half of the monsoon season could be hit by the El Nino. This is an unusual warming of the Pacific Ocean that plays havoc with the weather systems around the world. This may eventually lower precipitation levels in July and September. The forecast for this year is at the lower end of the IMD's range for normal rainfall from 96% to 104% of the long period average. In the last 4 years, that is from 2019 to 2022, India has received normal to above normal rainfall. According to IMD director, in terms of the spatial distribution, normal rainfall is expected in many parts of the peninsular and east central India, including Karnataka, Kerala, Goa, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, southern parts of Telangana, Puducherry, Chhattisgarh and Odisha. Normal to above normal rainfall is expected in the northeast, including Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland and Manipur, along with parts of Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab and some parts of Uttar Pradesh. Normal to below normal rainfall is likely in Rajasthan, Haryana, Uttarakhand, Maharashtra and Gujarat. Last year too, the IMD forecast had said that monsoon would be normal or 99% of the long period average. However, the country received 92.5 centimeters or 106% of the long period average last monsoon season. That was above normal. In 2021, rainfall was 99% of the LPA. The IMD will update its monsoon forecast later in May. Climate change and coastal erosion have been the culprits behind many damaged shoreline properties in recent years. But the situation unfolding in a town near Rio de Janeiro in Brazil is in an entirely different league. Atafona town in Brazil is home to more than 6,000 residents and sits about 200 miles north of Brazil's most famous beaches. The town was once a scenic coastal town, but in recent decades, it has become known for climate-related damage than its charm. Every year, the Atlantic Ocean swallows at least 6 meters or about 20 feet of the town. Hundreds upon hundreds of houses have been devoured, transforming the picturesque coastline into an underwater graveyard of wrecked structures. According to climate experts, the town's long-time suffering has been exacerbated by global warming. As sea surface temperatures rise throughout the world, heightened sea levels have sent more currents careening into the town's coast. But uniquely for Atafona, one more ingredient that has contributed to the town's worsening situation is the water loss at a nearby river. The Paraíba do Sul River, whose mouth sits in Atafona, is regarded as one of the most significant river basins in the country in terms of urban water supply. This 700-mile-long river provides water for more than 15 million people in 184 towns and cities. However, due to consistent overpumping, that water supply has shrunk in recent decades. The effects have been catastrophic. A geologist at a federal university explained that the reduced river volume has meant less sand has been transported to Atafona. Without the river sediment that previously washed sand ashore, the delta and stabilized the coast, the community has been left defenseless against ocean currents. Even more land has been exposed for the Atlantic to gobble up. The rapid erosion is widespread throughout the Brazilian coastline but has proven uniquely disastrous for Atafona. As per expert reports, in 1 year between 2008 and 2009, the sea advanced as far as 27 feet into the town. For the thousands of residents who continue to live along the coast and pray for a change in the ocean's wrath, the memories of years past continue to sting. The country has launched a social assistance program that pays 1,200 reais, which is roughly about $230 a month, to more than 40 families who lost their homes to erosion. From increasing temperatures to severe cold, from extensive rains to deadly droughts, Climate change is showing its effects every day and everywhere. The impact of climate crisis is such that it is not only impacting weather conditions, but according to a recent study, it is now impacting America's favorite pastime, baseball. How? Watch this report.
Even America's favorite pastime is not immune to climate change. As per a recent study conducted by several researchers from Dartmouth College, it revealed that warmer temperatures will now be causing more home runs in professional baseball. A study published in the Bulletin of American Meteorological Society analyzed data from over 100,000 Major League Baseball games and at least 220,000 batted balls. The study attributed that at least 500 home runs since the 2010 season was scored due to warmer temperatures. The researchers further found that because temperatures are on an average higher now than decades ago, the air is warmer more often and therefore thinner during baseball games. As a result, baseballs face less resistance while flying through the air, making it easier for them to travel farther. Major League Baseball saw a spike in home runs in recent years, enough that the league controversially used multiple different types of baseballs in one season to dampen the offense, at times without informing the public or players until it was reported by other outlets. The Dartmouth researchers acknowledged that the climate change factor is likely minor, as MLB teams hit at least 5,215 home runs last season, meaning the warmer temperatures only account for about 1% of the long balls. Different baseballs, faster pitches, stronger batters, and generally altered strategy with an emphasis on certain metrics like launch angle have a greater influence on home runs than climate change. However, the researchers also said climate change could have a larger effect in the future, estimating at least 192 additional home runs per season by 2050. And an estimated over 467 by 2100 in worst-case warming scenarios. The Dartmouth study and another commissioned by MLB in 2018 found that the number of home runs per game increases by 2% per 1 degree Celsius temperature increase. Although scientists and experts around the world are trying to combat the climate crisis, studies like these ones are important because they help to demonstrate how climate change will change every aspect of daily life. Bureau Report WION, World is One.
And that's a wrap on this edition of WION's Climate Tracker. Thanks for tuning in. But stay tuned to WION World is One for all the latest news and updates. Goodbye.